Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Bilco number RPRSWJ300. This is a 300-pound rated spring assembly, is what it is. There is no hard and fast rule where you're going to use a 300-pound assembly because the factory calculates through their engineering process the size of springs and the quantity naturally so that a lid can be properly counterbalanced. Meaning the spring that will be used depends on the size of the unit and the therefore spring load that you will require to properly again control the lid of the unit. A typical unit that you're going to find using a spring like this will be their H-20AL, that in a 3x3, a 3 foot by 3 foot, that would have one of these. So I can't tell you when you'll need it because there's no direct relationship, because size, weight, and then quantity of springs all work together to create a confluence of what it is that you'll end up having to replace. But what will happen is this video will serve as visual and dimensional evidence of the item. So here's the spring. When it comes to you, it's going to be under tension. Only once you have it properly secured to the lid and to the sidewall is when you would cut that zip tie that's there and then pull the pin out, releasing the tension that's preset on this. Let me give you the dimensions of it under tension. I obviously can't give you the dimensions of it not under tension because I would have no way to recompress this. So we are looking at an overall length of about 14 inch. Okay, center to center, center from this slotted hole for the top bolt to the center of the bird's mouth down here for the boot that it sits into. I'm going to place it on my desk so I can more accurately judge that. I'm going to say that a center to center is about 12 7/8 of an inch. From the center here to the center down here, 12 7/8. You're going to get, let me also give you an outside diameter of the top tube. Looks like you're realistically at about 2 5/8. The diameter of the bottom tube, about 2 1/8. Clients will very often say, will it work? The answer is I don't know. I'm making my own roof hatch. Will it work? The answer is I don't know, because the factory doesn't make available. It'd be very nice if the factory would make available a graph that said what's your weight, what's your size, what is your degree of opening, where you will have a stop or maybe a hold open arm employed, and then here are the springs that you should use. Unfortunately, that data is not available to us. And the manufacturer, Bilco, they're going to tell you, we're not in the business of supplying scuttles or spring assemblies for homemade roof hatches. And there are times I know that clients have bought the material and it hasn't worked because they need to open that lid so far open, past 90 degree, that the two tubes physically leave each other. And there are times when the client can't get it pushed down because the spring tension is too great for the 25-pound weight of what's been built. There are other times clients have said, I got it to work perfectly, not a problem at all. Advising you how to proceed, really our realm is, these are the dimensional properties of the item, that's the weight rating of the item, and stick within those guidelines and there shouldn't be any trouble. The hardware that you're going to get, you're going to get 2 zinc dichromate, zinc dichromate covered steel brackets. Corrosion resistant is why that zinc dichromate is there. Zinc dichromate will look yellowish. They give you one of each hand. They don't want to worry about what side you're putting it on. Is it the left or the right? And when you're facing the lid, if you're on the roof looking at the lid and it's open, the left is the left and the right is the right. The brackets, they're going to give you one of each. You're only going to use one, is the bottom line. Is generally how I see that. Although I suppose if you were doing your own sort of installation, you could certainly mount them together and then put your unit between the two. I suppose you could. You'll get the bottom boot. That's going to mount to the sidewall, and you get the picture of how that's going to work, obviously. And that'll just snap in place. I'm not going to push that all the way in because the client will just simply need to pull it out. You know what, let's back up to the brackets. Let me give you the dimensional properties. That's, after all, the hallmark of this video. Overall height of the bracket. Overall height about 3 3/8. Overall width at the base, 3 inch. Overall depth of the unit itself, outside to outside, about 1.5 inches. Now that bottom boot, overall width, 2 11/16, yes. Overall height, about 1 7/8. Overall projection of that item, about 2 1/8. Finally, you're going to get all the bolts that will go with all of this. The bolt for the top assembly. You're going to get a couple of bolts to secure your boot onto the bottom. And you're going to get 4 hex cap machine bolts for attaching. You don't really need 4 is the bottom line. You really only need 2. Based on, let's take a look. I stand corrected. A drawing that I've pulled up shows both brackets being implemented on the top. And quite frankly, now that I think of it, for a 300-pound rating, the only times I see one bracket installed is when you're dealing with a 100-pound spring, a 180-pound spring. The drawing I'm looking at clearly indicates that these two are to be mounted together over the top portion, okay? Then, of course, those 4 bolts are going to be required because you're most likely certainly going to be installing them onto both of the brackets. Okay? Sorry about that prior confusion. Finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up, first of all, let's back up. There's a link below this video to the installation instructions, which are sometimes included with the hardware, but most times not. The bottom line is they're available for your review before order, after receipt of material. You can see what has to happen, a multi-page document. Nice guideline there for you to refer to. Finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page within the website where you'll be able to view not only all of the Bilco products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. We endeavor to have all of the replacement parts in the site for Bilco hatches. Working with Bilco is very easy and straightforward and simple. They make their parts available for purchase so that you can continue to get useful service out of the significant investment in a roof hatch. That's helpful, and I would use that in mind on future purchases, because what you don't want to do is have to yank out a hatch that's been properly flashed and roofed around just because you can't get a replacement shock and you can't even get help trying to find it, is the bottom line. Customers who are in a situation where they don't know what to do, send us a photograph. We'll see what we can come up with. Our eyes have seen many different roof hatch scenarios, and our experience hopefully can be leveraged to solve your problem. If you have any questions on the Bilco number RPRSWJ300, 300-pound lifting mechanism, roof scuttle, or any other Bilco product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.